Hi everybody, welcome to the Manifold channel. Let's take a look at what's new in Legends. Legends have been evolving very rapidly from first kind of an alpha level experimental thing to a beta level experimental thing, and now they're getting to the point where they're actually very useful and really fast and easy to work with. We're going to create a legend for this map right here, which shows buildings and roads in Monaco. And buildings are areas which are, if we take a look at how they're styled, we can see that a thematic format has been applied to style them using various colors for the areas. If we take a look at how roads are thematically formatted, we can see that they're formatted by the F class, which is the OpenStreetMap name for what the content of the different road is. And we're going to create a legend for all this. All that starts by creating a layout, and the fastest, easiest way to create a layout is to just choose Print Preview, and that'll automatically create a layout for the scene that we were looking at in that map. That puts it in as a default layer there, because whenever you print something, it all starts with the layout. So it just, Manifold does it, makes it very convenient and easy for you. To create a legend for this, first let's make a little space here for the legend, and I want to choose Page Setup to turn this into landscape format. There, and I'll click on this frame here to pick it, so we can resize it and move it about a bit, and I'll double click into that to enable it for panning and zooming mode within the frame, so I can compose something that's kind of a prettier view here. That's about right. And now let's create a legend for this, and the way we do that is we go right here and choose Create Legend, and here let's call the legend Monaco. Caption, the main caption, Monaco, let's spell that right. And we want a base frame, which is the kind of wraparound frame that encloses it. We want it to ignore unused geometry types, so it's only going to create samples for the thematic formatting. For example, if a layer only has areas in it, it won't create samples for lines and points. It'll just show the layers, so the areas rather. And we don't want the Bing Map Street Map layer to show up, so I'm going to turn that off. Click Create Legend, and there the legend is done. Super. So to move this about, let's what we're going to learn to do is we're going to learn how to move these things about, how to choose items within a legend. We're going to learn how to work with the alignment here, and we're going to learn how to proliferate changes that we make in formatting to one layout frame to all selected frames. That's easy to do. We'll start by working with the layers frame. A legend is nothing more but a bunch of frames here that are organized into folders. And we use the layers pane to manipulate them conveniently so that if we say control click on the folder that's roads, everything within the roads folder gets automatically selected. Control click to deselect roads, control click to select, control click to deselect. We can turn everything in roads, the roads folder on and off just by clicking it like that. We can collapse the roads folder if we want. We make this cleaner display if we're only working with the buildings part of it. And everything still works the way you expect it to, clicking that visibility box on and off. In this case, we want to select everything in the legend, so I'm going to control click the top level folder in which everything is selected, and that's selected everything in the layer. Here what I can do is I can alt click to pick this element, and I can move that as I want. And the way Manifold works is that you pick something with an alt click, and when you move something that's alt clicked, everything that's selected, if that alt click item is also selected, will move with it. That's just a great convenience. You want to move collections of objects, be they objects in a drawing that you're editing or frames in a layout that you're moving about and editing. They all move together. So we just moved that, and let's go back here to the layers pane, and I'm going to deselect everything. I did a shortcut there to Control Shift A, deselect. I could have also just chosen Edit Select None. And what I want to do is I want to choose this background base frame and to move it out of the way, because I don't want that to be participating in anything. And there's two ways to do that. I can right click and choose Active, and that moves it around. That selects that, so I can now move that base frame around. Or if I wanted to, I could have also alt clicked here to choose that. And this is a great way when you're alt clicking within the layers pane or choosing active like that. It's a great way of choosing exactly whatever layer, whatever frame you want to be active, when it's difficult to pick one out when there's potentially many dozens of them that are overlapping here. And I'm just going to move this frame out of the way here. I don't need to work with it. So in fact we can even just turn it off so we don't even see it. Let's turn the map back on. And by the way, here's another thing in terms of turning elements on and off. What's new in this build, and the build we're working with here, by the way, is 170.6. So that's a new build that's just coming out. I'm actually working with the pre-release of it. It hasn't been released to the public yet. It won't be for a couple of days. I think the current public build is 170.5, so some of these features aren't in 170.5, but they are in 170.6. So we're filming this a couple of days ahead of time. Anyway, this button right here, which is called margins, we've shown hide margins. This shows the margins as that background line, so you can see where the margins are. And if you turn them off, this is what's actually going to print. And if we turn this base frame back on, the base frame actually has a border around it. So that's not a margin, that's actually a border. And when you put this on top of the legend, that's what draws the border around the legend. Be that as it may, let's turn that back off, and let's turn margins back on here so we can see what we're working with here. Now, to alter items in the legend, what we do is we alt-click them to change them. So we alt-click buildings, make that active, and now if I want, I can change the text that's in that caption. So I can say here, buildings by MFD ID, click update record, and now let's alt-click here, and this is going to be a roads by F-class. So I'm just going to change that caption, click update record. And now what I'd like to do, we don't need these frame elements here, so let's get rid of those. I'm going to control click them to select them, and then I can choose edit, delete. Delete selected frames, yeah, sure. So now they're gone. And what we've just done is we've altered how this legend looks. But now what we have is these frames that are kind of detached from each other, and what we really like to do is like to tighten this up, bring them all close together. And that's very easy to do. We just control, click and drag to select all these. And now here in terms of a line, oops, now I have to pick one of them to be at the controlling element, and let's pick that one right there. It could be any of them. I've alt-picked it. And now what I can do is I choose stack vertical. And it will do is it'll automatically stack all those frames, bring them up tight. And the way it stacks the frames in the order in which they appear in the layers pane. So you can, if you want to change orders, like if you want to put roads first, you can drag and drop this roads folder above the buildings folder, and then when you stack vertical, the roads items are going to stack above the buildings folder. There, that's super. Let's again, let's choose edit, select none, and let's change some of the formatting here. So for example, let's alt-click on this guy here, and let's change the sample shape. If we want, we can change the sample shape to a diamond. Click update record, and there's a diamond. You can see it's changed that to a diamond. Maybe we can change the sample shape to, oh, here's a pentagon. Update that. Let's change that to a triangle skewed top, which is kind of a strange name, but that's what the name of it is, and that's basically a manifold style inverted triangle. And let's make that a little bit, sample a little bit wider. So let's make that 150% in terms of width. Click update record, and you can see that's wider. So now that we've made these changes to here, which are kind of pretty, I like that. Let's apply the change that we've made to this particular box to all of them. And the way we do that is that we can shift control, whoops, we can control shift click there like that. And now we've selected all of them, and what I can do is here is same format. And the same format means take whatever the picked element is and apply it to all the sample ones. So we do that, and immediately we applied the same format change, 150% width and the triangle skewed top to all of them. So that's good. Edit, select none. Let's change these guys down here, and I'll pick one of them, footway, and let's make that a 200% wide. Click update record. So that makes it a wider sample. And now I can control click and drag all these guys here. Control click this to turn it on and off. This selection here works the same way it works everywhere else in Manifold, whether you're selecting records in a table, whether you're selecting objects in a drawing, or whether you're selecting frames here. Control click basically toggles, and you can control drag to select everything within that marquee that you draw. And here again, let's choose same format, and that applies the same format to all these. So very, very, very convenient. Edit, select none. What else can we do? Let's resize some of these things. So for here we have footway. That seems like it's a little bit cramped. What I like it to do is I like it to be a little bit taller. So let's change the position, and let's make the position here. Let's make that 6 points high instead of 5. Click update record, and as you can see, we've now made this box wider. Great. So now let's control click and drag to select all these. And what I want to do is I want to make them all the same height. So as you can see, when I click that, it made all the boxes the same height, which makes them overlap somewhat. So that means we are going to use our old friend stack vertical again, which stacks them like that. If you want to see what stack horizontal does, by the way, you can click this and choose stack horizontal, and it spreads them out this way. It spreads them out horizontally in terms of the order in which they appear. Stack vertical will move them back in terms of stacking on top of this footway, in terms of this picked frame. Stack vertical. Oops. Got to choose that. Excuse me. Stack vertical. They're already stacked vertical. What I need to do is I want to align on this left margin. So to do that, I choose Align Left. And now all the other frames align to whatever the picked frame is. That's pretty cool stuff. That makes it very easy to use, and it makes it very quick and fast. So as you can see, we have a lot of options here. We have same width, same height. If we'd like, let's change the width of this to see how that works. So that's here in the contents pane, and choose position. And the width, let's make that wider. Let's make that a 60. Click Update Record. Now when I can go here, I can choose to make that same width and make them all the same width. Let's change some other parameters here back here in the style. Let's make the sample width position. Let's make that right. And so I've moved that so now sample right. Now when I apply this to all these elements, it's going to apply everything in the formatting. So it's going to not only move everything here, like all these guys, to the right, it's also going to change the width if I wanted to do that. So I don't want those elements there to be changed. So what I can do here is in the layers pane, I can deselect all those. I can deselect this one, and I can deselect that one. And now when I apply the formatting to all these, it'll only apply the formatting to these items that are selected here. So let's same format, and they'll all move to the right. Now if I want to move all these guys to the right, that's easy enough to do. I can just pick any one of them, choose right, and edit, select none, and here let's select the ones I wanted to be affected, and let's update the record for this one. And now let's same format, and all those are going to go to the right as well. Edit, select none, and that shows us how the legend looks now. Let's turn this off quickly so we can see what we've built in terms of a legend. Let's turn that back on, and now let's add that. Let's put that frame back in place. Now this frame no longer matches in terms of size because it's been the size has been changed, so it no longer fits here. So we'd really like to take this frame and kind of like automatically wrap it around all these things here. Notice, by the way, it has a white background, so that as we move it over top of the map, that blocks out the map with the background. So how do we have this frame automatically fit to these guys? Well, that's easy to do. We control drag and drop to control drag to choose all these items here. This one is still picked. This is our base frame still picked. And now what we can do is we can choose resize to selected. And this really should be called resize and move to selected, but let's do it that way, and that's what it's called. And that automatically jumps to wrap around this, and it resizes to fit. And let's make this border here a little bit wider. Let's make that a border of 1. Click Update Record. Now choose Edit, select None, click here, and here is our completed legend, showing what that looks like. There's some future elements that are obviously going to be done. There's endless things you might want to do here with legends. So for example, we probably want some padding here, and I for one would like some padding. I think it would be a good thing. So let's put a padding of 1, or let's make it, let's make a padding of 2. No, let's make a padding of 1, and click Update Record. And now we can Control click that. We're still operating with this guy here, so we want to turn this one off, deselect that one. And let's now, same format. So now I applied padding to these guys here, so they're not scrunched up against tight against the border. Edit, select none. Let's choose these people here, and I'll click that, and let's also do a padding here of 1. Update record, and same format. And now we've applied that padding to all these frames as well. So that's how you can do this. And basically what we're doing here in terms of a workflow is we're going back and forth between the layers pane, which I probably should have undocked and left here open. the layers pane and elements that we're manipulating here in the contents pane, where we can have these various legend frame elements that we pick, we manipulate here. Then we select what we want to apply to that, what we want that to apply to in the rest of the legend, and then we choose, same format or same width or same height or whatever else that we want it to do. So that's the basic workflow. Choose one of these legend elements, pick one of the legend elements with an Alt-click, make the changes that you want to that, update those changes, so now you update that one element, and then apply those changes that you made to however many other like elements that you think it should apply to. It's the basic workflow, and it's very easy. If you want the guides to be there to help you, you can turn those on and off at any time, so you can see what the margins are of the various frames and what the margins are in the paper that you're working with. I hope you've enjoyed this quick preview. Thanks for watching. Make sure to contribute your suggestions. Every week or two, there's several dozen improvements that get added to Legends and layouts. So make sure that you send in your suggestions so that Legends evolve to be exactly the tool that you want them to be. That's kind of how the community-driven model of Manifold that Manifold uses works. People say what they want, and Manifold does it. And it does it very rapidly, not waiting months or whatever. A lot of these things come out within a week or two. So thanks for watching, and goodbye from the Manifold channel. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.